Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian K. Morris. Welcome to the June 30th, 2022 edition of Comic Book Spectrum. We've got issues of comic books. We hope you stick around and watch because we got reviews and news you can use. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute.
Seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
How dare you!
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday edition here of Comic Book Spectrum. And whether you're live or watching us on the rerun, we appreciate you. Please leave comments so we'll have things to talk about. And if you're watching us later on, leave comments below and we will reply to you. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for being here, and we'll have the others out soon. But first of all, we want to do our attitude of gratitude, which starts out with our Patreon supporters. Patreon is a monthly support system for creators where you can support your favorite creators with a modest monthly stipend. It is a good thing. And these folks keep us on track, keep us publishing, and keep us broadcasting. And if you would like to become one of them, please check out what we offer in return for your support at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And we are brought to you by Rising Tide Publications. Look out for the terrors coming this summer later on. And also Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
When you've worked hard on that book of yours, you want somebody to work just as hard to create all the beautiful images you need to sell that work. Well, Plasma Fire Graphics does that and more. Check out their Facebook page and also check out plasmafiregraphics.com and inquire of Jeffrey Hayes about his independent creator-friendly pricing. That's Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And talk about readers that matter. I'm proud to bring in the rest of the crew here tonight. Joe D. McFee, Zombie Slayer Eric Hawkins, and Clyde Hall. Let me get you all unmuted here. And welcome to the show, guys. How you doing?
Great.
Yeah. Sounds like unbridled enthusiasm. Isn't that awesome? And we'll get to your comment. Yeah, no joke. So anyway, we'll get to your comments soon, but first we got to let the crew introduce themselves. We'll start with Joe, go counterclockwise here. Joe, tell everyone how awesome you are.
Well, Joe D. McFee, starting fourth reviewer for your Comic Book Spectrum from the Illinois Institute of Technology. I am the creator of I am actually the creator of the president of CDC Studios, the creator of Amazonia, which just recently crowdfunded here for issue number 7. And as soon as the funding has been transferred over to us, we send it out to the printers where we can fulfill here. Creator of Amazonia, AWF, and Primetime Saturday Night here. I also run a podcast called From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, which you can catch here on the Rise of Tide Network on Saturdays here. And every Thursday, I'm with these guys right here doing comic book reviews with Comic Book Spectrum.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Joe. And next in line is Zombie Slayer Eric S. Hawkins. Eric.
Yep. I'm great. I'm
Thanks, Eric. Bye.
I am the creator of the Zombie World of Oz. We just filled the 4th issue a couple months ago, and tomorrow 6 cases of comics are going to show up at my house while I'm at work. But we did get the metal covers in before the regular covers, and they're gorgeous. They shine. And
the 4th of July came early. Look at that.
And if you toss it, it will cut you like Knick Knack's hat from
it's like a shuriken.
That's right.
So you can find me here every Thursday night, mostly on Comic Book Spectrum, and after that, you can find me on Drawing Quartered Ultimate Edition, because we're the only edition anymore. We do spotlight indie creators that are funding their books, and this week will be spotlighting the Canadian Shield issue 2, and actually it is out of Canada, so it's very appropriate. But that's me. If you want to follow me on social media, just look at my name, you will find me.
Most excellent. Thank you, Eric. And here he is, the one, the only Mr. Clyde Hall. Clyde, take it away.
Hello. Well, my name is Clyde Hall, and I used to be a comic book fan before admitting that aloud was something that you wanted to do very much if you liked your glasses and didn't want to get beat up at school. And if you doubt that, just consider I had the Marvel Comics Mead Trapper Keeper and all the folders and the spiral notebooks. And I even had some of the paper refills that came with the t-shirt transfers on my t-shirt. So
I got beat up a lot.
I know. But now I'm a comic reviewer and still a comics fan, which means I've lived a life bettered by comic books, along with Monster Kid movies and Saturday morning cartoons and old school toys and classic science fiction and epic space fantasy. And my love of the comic book medium is why I do online comics reviews at places like doomrocket.com, where right now, starting today, you can find my new review of Astronaut Down #1 from Aftershock Comics. Go to www.doomrocket.com and check it out. I've also been doing weekly reviews at Comics Bookcase, but there are some changes afoot. Now, I can't share them yet because they're pending deals. I got to wait until they become done deals, but they're good deals like libraries and MCU Easter eggs. So watch this space for further updates. Also, watch this space for news about my contribution to Stormgate Press's Captain Hawkland, The Lost Adventures Project. Stormgate's the place. Like the Eric Hawkins for indie comics, Stormgate is the place for short stories and the new pulp releases. And
Major Marjorie.
I'm a contributing writer there, and my short stories have been in each of the award-winning Pulp Realities 1, 2, and 3. This is number 2, and won an award for its cover and several other things. And since Joe mentioned her, I also have a story in the Tim Bruckner's Major Marjorie compilation of short stories, along with Alicia Kent and Jim Beard and Tim Bruckner himself. And our own Brian K. Morris is a contributor also. So check these out. Go to www.stormgatepress.com and see what all the award winning's about. But right now it's time for live reviews and comic book news with a panel of creative fellows I'm proud to call friends right here on Comic Book Spectrum.
Well said, sir. Well said. And speaking of Major Marjorie, Check it
There you
out.
go. There you go.
Check it out. Available on Amazon or also from stormgatepress.com. And if Stormgate Press is the place to get short stories, well, Ben Books is the other for award-winning stories. And I've got it. I will share. I got the best review yet from someone, and I can prove that Ben Books is an award-winning publisher. So, no, I didn't show it off when I was on vacation this week. Hardly. Anyway, check out Snow Shorts available from Ben Books, also AbrahamSnow.com, BobbyNash.com, and Amazon. It'll be worth your while. I'm Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, award-winning author, award-winning playwright, Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant. And we are happier than heck to be here with my pals talking funny books tonight. So anyway, Joe has run away.
Joe looks
While
like
Joe's away, I have a question.
Yes.
Do any of you or does Brian actually expect us to believe he wasn't running around vacation like Flava Flav with that thing around his neck like a
Don't think I haven't thought about that in the last month and a half. Again, one of those things, boy. It has crossed my mind. No, I got the best review from my mother-in-law.
Huh?
Oh.
See, I leave most of my books. Some of them are definitely not anything she wants to read, so I don't leave her like the Bachelor's Grove book or anything like that. But I left her my latest when we were visiting earlier this week. I left her some of my books, and Cookie and I ran out to run an errand. When we came back, Mom said, "I understand now why you won the award."
Oh.
So I just got the seal of approval from my mother-in-law, and if any guy out there who's married understands, that's quite an accomplishment. So I'm happy with that. And notice I'm putting my little award away now, where I won't make reference to it or pull it out for at least 10 seconds, because that's the time it takes me to get it out of there. Not that I've timed it. But anyway.
I think that's code, and I think it's TMI. I don't know.
It is.
You're whipping out your award time.
Deliveries.
That's just code. I don't think.
I literally hate late deliveries. That's why I was away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And would it happen to relate to your recent crowdfunding venture, sir?
No.
Oh.
This is possibly new material for review in later episodes of this show.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we're going to press on. We've got a few comments here. And Paul, we're getting to Paul, but Carl Wisman's here. Hello, Carl. Hope you're doing well. Good job. You and Nick Tockard, last 2 episodes of Nevermind the Furthermore, have never been better. You guys were awesome. And speaking of Nick Tockard, good to see you. Thought I was going to have to fake a fez and message folks for this show, too. That's okay. And Paul Bush, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And everyone saying hello. And IIT, a fine institution. And hello, and everyone. Hello, Donna, Carly, moi. Check out Donna and Carl Witzman's books at lulu.com. And Nick Tockard's work on Amazon.com, also nicktockard.com, and he's also the co-host of Nerd Bacon Thursday mornings. Nick Tockard is on Nuke Stone's various channels and the Raging 2 network. Also, he has his own show tomorrow night, every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, the Historical Fencing Guild. And I defy anyone to say that in one breath, although I know he can. Also, Nick Tockard will become the brand new host of Nevermind the Furthermore this coming Wednesday. Please show up and give him some love, okay? And we're glad y'all are here. And I guess it means we get to hit the reviews quicker. And I don't bake up here. But anyway. Now Joe's engrossed. So who wants to start the reviews?
We got to have comic book phone though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's busy. He's ignoring the show because he got something new.
I'm not that busy.
Commitment, Joe. Commitment.
That's where I left my stuff at.
I don't.
I thought I had it sitting right here. No,
No,
there you are. Here we go.
I was watching.
Now we're ready.
Okay, you ready? You sure?
Yeah, because the number has been disconnected temporarily, but we got it back online here.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Comic Book Phone. Please choose carefully because your review will depend on your choice. 4. Strange number 2. Please select 1. Get the glare out. There we go. 4. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, The Saturday Morning Adventures, issue number 4, the last issue of the series. Please press 2. 4. 8 Billion Genies. Please press 3.
2.
Oh, that's issue number 1, by the way. 4. Something is Killing the Children, number 18. Please press 4. 4. Hit Me, number 2. Please press 5. Please select now.
All right, and the votes are already cascading in, and we also want to say hello to somebody who we feel is very, very important. That's Jennifer Hawkins. Mwah! Wow, I feel unimportant. How about you guys? You are a shining light. You are very important, Jennifer. And we have a vote for number 2 from Eric Hawkins.
Oh, she thought that was funny.
And Rising Tide Broadcast Network has voted for 1. Jennifer Hawkins has voted for 2. Brian K. Morris, who doesn't know nothing about spelling, voted for 2. And voted for 2. Donna Carleen, splitting from the pack, has voted for 3. And I know, Jennifer, you got skipped. No, it's just how it happened to spring up here on StreamYard. My apologies, Jennifer. And Paul Bush is voting for 1 because he's a radical kind of guy. He ain't going with the crowd. And Carl Whitman is voting for 3. And wow, you guys got your boots on. It is getting deep in here earlier. We just rolled the pants legs, Jennifer, because it's too late to save the shoes. And I see a write-in vote in the upper corner here from Mr. Clyde Hall. Yay! Either that or he's running for office. Help him.
I'm not a crook.
I am. Anyway, so that was my guy. But anyway, I think that's most everyone's here right now.
I believe so. I didn't get the write-in vote. What's the write-in vote? Okay.
Clyde.
No, I didn't see it. Put it that way.
Okay.
That's where I was getting at. I knew there was a vote, but I didn't see where it was written at.
That's why we.
That's okay. I was temporarily distracted too because I saw Donna. She said something about cheesecake, and that caught my attention right away. But apparently, she's talking about the confection. So.
Oh man, I'm there, and I'm looking back at the end of the comment. Did I miss something? I did.
It was up near the top. I was just scrolling around.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't go up all the way here. Oh, here we go. Yes. And Carl Whistle goes, here we go again. Good. It didn't show up earlier. Good evening, everyone. And dang, the cheesecake slowed me down. And Carl got to come in first, but it was worth it. And well, you were here first. And the kittens are playing on the front stairs. They're so cute. Hello, Jennifer. We love you. And everyone says you're important, Jennifer. And there we go. And back where we were. So. And Neil Lanning, a show with my kind of rating.
Yeah.
Love you, Nita. Mwah. Check out the Raging 2 Network. They've got some great shows on that network, and she is awesome. So we love you, Nita. And so
enough to kind of look forward to. This is Good Boy 1 and 2.
Okay. All right.
I'm just quickly trying to go through this real quick. But
I got the preview to that shows like the making of it. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, this is kind of a letdown. But then I thought, when we're going to do projects later on, perhaps with Brian Rodman writing comic book stuff, this is very good information. So I set that aside just future reference. So,
all right. So,
do
you want to run with it now, or do Eric need to do something?
Now, we heard from Rodman recently outside of our normal outside chat.
I realize I haven't talked to him in a while, so I need to.
I talked to him yesterday for a little while.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I was on the road, so bringing Calgon home.
Well, Calgon took him away, but he brought him back.
And Calgon saved me money.
And Brian Rodman, if you're watching, from the bottom of our hearts, we wish for you to keep it fresh, cheese bag. So that's his new outro phrase, he says. So I thought I would try it out first and Give him a shout out.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I still believe that he's still going through the legal battles over the paraphrase, and it's not easy being Wheezy.
He's going to get a trademark on that thing, and every time I mention it, I'm going to get sued. That's the way it's going to work. even though I'm pimping.
I think he's in witness protection.
That's it. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. So, so Joe, are you ready?
Oh, you want me to go ahead and finish
the
tally?
Or do you want Eric to go first?
Eric could go first because I'm up here like, oh, I didn't realize this had happened, and like looking at some very nice things here, which again that could be later on for the show.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, anyway, here he is. While Joe D is opening his Christmas joys. Eric is playing with something.
My mic was just in the frame. Just scooting it back.
Okay. Well,
so, yeah, we got some comics. And first, I'm going to show off 2 books that came in the mail this week. So that means they were crowdfunded. Demon Bitch, Triggered. I know nothing about it. I really don't. So we'll find out soon. Now, this one, I have backed every issue of this, and this is issue 7. This is Saving the World, number 7. And a special surprise for issue 8, there will be a cameo of Dorothy and the Scarecrow in that issue.
Very cool.
Because in issue 8, the main character is going to travel across indie-verses to another indie-verse. But as they go through the indie-verses, they're going to like pop through a bunch of them just through the sky. So I was requested could I draw one panel? And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. I will do that. So I did. It looked really good. I was like, dang. I did pick up these books. I know this one came out a couple weeks ago, but I never saw it in my regular comic shop. But when I saw this cover, I just loved it. It's a Death Dealer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty.
My shop didn't get this. And I think this is almost been out for a month, I think. But I just love that cover. This one, I think, came out last week. And I was looking forward to reading this, but I just haven't yet because Beware the Eye of Odin by Image.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked up Grimm 2, but I haven't read that one yet either. That's about the Grim Reaper. But I did pick up this, and I just had to get issue 2 because I did miss it when it came out. I think this one came out last week or the week before. Twig number 2.
Aha.
And this is the one I'll review from Image Comics. I believe it's Image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we're going to do a test here real quick. Yeah. Okay. So it's my test is I went to the eye doctor this week. And usually I put on my cheaters to read stuff. And apparently my eyes have gotten better. So they took my my power down by 2. So I haven't been using my cheaters too much at all. So Twig is written by Scotty Young and drawn by Kyle Strahm. I'm going with Strom. Coloring by Jean-Francis Boulet. And lettering is by Nate Pikios of Blambot. So little Twig and what is his partner's name? I forget. So little Twig in issue 1, he inherited from his dad a job. He has to go and take things. He goes through a mouth of a mountain, comes out the butt of the mountain. He doesn't want to do this, but it's his family's destiny. They've always done this, so he'd rather be a cook. And he wakes up late all the time. But he's on his first mission to take this emerald, or it's not really an emerald, I guess. Some kind of stone with carvings in it. It's magical. To the I forget what his name was, but he's dead anyway. You found out he's dead at the end of the issue. Some kind of soothsayer, to find out what he's supposed to do with this and go on his mission. So he shows up, and then into the first issue, the guy's dead. So this issue starts off right after that, and he they have to bury him. They bury him. They're trying to figure out what they need to do because the person that's supposed to give them their directions for their little mission is gone. But they do find this really cool device that has all kinds of things and little potions and stuff, and they're just going to try and make it work anyway. So they do a little mixture and stuff, and little Twig puts on his cerebral helmet right there. And he gets visions of what he should do. He needs to take the stone or whatever it is to emerald. I want to call it emerald, but I think it's more of a stone. To this place and place it. But his little companion, Clyde, do you remember his little companion's name?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh gosh, but he's just like a little blotchy snail. Is all he is. Just where is it? Anyway. He keeps telling him, hey. But he finally gets him to take it off, and they shut it down, and the machine explodes, and it has damaged the gym. It's a gym. The gym. It's no longer glowing. It has lost its magic powers. So now they're not sure what to do. But then Twig remembers nectar. It needs nectar. Nectar, not nectar, nectar. So they have to go see the Nectarmancer.
That's cute.
To get, it recharged. At least that's what his dad used to go do when he had a problem. He'd go see the Nectarmancer. And then you get a little cameo from what looks to be maybe Orko Village.
All right.
Splat.
Splat. Yeah, Twig and Splat. So, he gets his directions there to head to the Necromancer or the Nectarmancer. He gets there and I thought this is funny. I'm sure it's not supposed to be this way, but there's all these creatures saying, chit, 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 chit. C-H-I-T, not S-H.
I said that a lot when I stubbed my toe a couple days ago.
Oh, that does hurt. That's always hurt more than it should. But these creatures just live there. They're not really going to do him any harm. So he runs into the Nectarmancer. And Nectarmancer kind of gives him a hard time, saying he really messed up that gym pretty bad. He doesn't know if he'll be able to fix it. And ends up, he really can't fix it himself. He's got to send Twig on this quest, but he's going to tell him how to fix it himself. He has to go to all these different places, which you find out the last one he has to go to is the moon. And that's how the issue ends with a blank page, which I think they've done that before, which kind of bums you out. But other than that, you get a preview of issue 2, which is a lot of cool art and Twig with no lettering. Oh, 2 blank pages, like a whole green page too. But the book is really good. Oh, that's cool. Oh, here's a sneak peek of issue 3. Kind of reminds me of Abe from Oddworld, old PlayStation game.
Nice.
But Twig's on this quest to go get his gym all recharged back up with nectar because he would have had time. He would have ran into all this trouble if he would have woke up on time. And he finally shows the Nectarmancer he means business. He kind of gets in his face and loses his temper a little bit. And the Nectarmancer is very happy about that. Like, it's about time you did that. But wait. So the art is really good in this book. I love it. But I still find it to be very kid friendly because they're not saying shit; they're saying chit. But there's nothing really scary about it or anything. It's a very cute story, just like I thought the first issue was. I really dig it because I usually read a lot of more horror books and stuff like that, and this one's just a very refreshing change of pace for me. Issue 2, issue 1, I really loved. Issue 2, I'm gonna go out and give it an 8 out of 10 because I liked it that much.
Yay!
Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
So the moral of the story, still up to this point, is don't be late.
Don't be late. Wake up on time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There you go. Don't sleep your life away. Oh, and I forgot to put our little disclaimer up here for the legal department here at Rising Tide. Basically about the images and educational purposes and all that malarkey. But anyway, makes us look official.
All that chit.
Yeah, chit.
All that
I said. I kicked my display boxes in the van the other night. And I'm like, chit. So So yeah, honestly, that's what I said. Anyway,
Were you barefoot in the van? Oh, wait, never mind. It's okay.
actually, yes, I was.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
In fact, here's what else I was wearing,
The
Eric.
van was
Or
rocking.
wasn't wearing, Eric. It was cold in that van, very cold. But
Were
anyway,
you parked down by the river again?
with
What
the
was
free
that?
candy sign on. Yeah.
That's where you messed up. It should have been free tacos.
Now there you go. See, now there you go. See, that's why I value my friends. They tell me what I need to know. So anyway, we have a comment here. Donna Carlene says, Jennifer, it's always deep in here, so I'm always wearing boots. And 8, wow, Carl is astounded. As
It's
well,
so
he
cute.
should.
I really like it.
It did look like fun. It you know, I figured out what the last page, the blank page, the white page was. You can draw your own ending.
I might do an entire book like that. Draw your own book. Tom World of Oz, issue 5. Tell your own story.
There you go. You bought it. You make up a story, right?
Be sure to put at least 2 or 3 black pages in there like everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Hey, I will announce it here if no one's heard me before. Issue 5 will start out with an entire black page.
There you go. Trendy. That's our boy. So, anyway, thank you, Eric. That was great. And speaking of great, Joe, are you ready?
Oh, yes, I am ready. We got everything tabulated. However, I won't do the usual that I normally would do for this book here because I don't want copyright strikes or anything like that. So we're just going to go delve into it. So the winner for this week is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, The Saturday Morning Adventures, issue number 4, the final issue of this series here. And yes, it is the final issue as a whole here because I don't think they're going to make any more beyond this. At least that's what they're giving to us, considering the fact that IDW lost the license for G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. So
G.I. Joe.
Tell them to get it back.
Yeah, they could get it back. They could get it back here. However, if you haven't watched the other how can I say reviews of issues 1 through 3, pause, go back. Well, actually, stop watching this, pause this one, go back and watch the other ones to understand what's going on with this one a little bit better and why it's so significant.
We need captions like editor's notes, like in the old comics.
Exactly.
Please tune into 3 weeks ago on this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you remember, at the end of 3, Cobra Command. Well, actually, long story short, Cobra Commander finds Aladdin's lamp. He rubs it. Genie pops out. Genie gives him 3 wishes. He used 2 of them within the first 2.5 issues. However, towards the tail end of issue 3, he finally makes his last and final wish, which was beyond the scopes of the genie's power, which means that he violated the rules of the 3 wishes. So it allows the genie to pretty much do what he wants to facilitate that last wish. And that's where we end up at issue number 4 for right now. So issue number 4 starts out with all the G.I. Joes on one side, all the Cobra on another, and the genie giving them kind of like the spiel here. And he said, pretty much, you guys have been at war all this time against your wills, this, that, and the other. However, the current master, being Cobra Commander, made a wish that's beyond his capabilities. So he's going to improvise. He brought both sides to that one island, brought all their weaponry to that island. Y'all go for what you know. And the winner pretty much wins all. This war comes to an end when there's only one team standing. And then Cobra Commander, as you always know, is always complaining. It's like, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I demanded. This, that, and the other. And then, Baron is saying, don't be a fool, Commander. we don't want to antagonize that thing any further, because it's like she kind of got a point. It's like he's improvising at this point. You made a wish that's beyond his capabilities here, especially when it has the power to drop a battle on our very doorstep. And then that's when Major Blood just like, you know what, screw it, picks up a gun and just starts firing at the Joe crew. And pretty much it's like, are you, Hawkins like, are you serious? Are they serious? Can anybody tell us what's going on? And then as soon as Major Blood starts firing, everybody starts to scatter and get to their weapons and everything. The genie's up here is like, from up high looking at the battle and everything and this, that, and the other. So it's like he's looking at all of this stuff and everything. And Firefly had the best idea. It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. It's like, I never signed up for this suicide mission. He tries to escape and he tries to run away, and then he gets pushed back, only to get thrown later on by Spirit, who happens to be nearby. So, we have Flint, who eventually got into a Sky Striker, and Destro with Cobra Rattler. And, he's, how Destro is. Destro's trying to figure out the best way to deal with this. It's like, it got to be another alternative other than to fight to bring this to an end, and then, they're getting a conversation with one another. Flint and Destro's in conversation with one another. And it's like, well, I'm not the one, I'm not one to, that likes your logic, because they're trying to save one another's bacon at this point, because death is not an option for either side. That was the nature of the wish and everything. So Destro says, like, you know what? I leave it to you guys then to protect everybody. And he tries to take off. The genie sees it, grabs the Rattler, crushes it, and then put Destro back on the ground. I mean, literally put Destro back on the ground, and they're up there like, oh, so nobody can escape the fight. Nobody can leave. This has to be resolved here on this island. So pretty much they're up here. It's like, what was that, Flint? Aladdin's lamp? Everybody's trying to figure out a way to get beyond this. It's like, and then we got Gung Ho pretty much shooting at everything. And Scarlett's up here really trying to think what is actually happening. And then Flint tells Scarlett what's what, as far as it being Aladdin's lamp and everything. And that genie up there is the same genie that was part of Aladdin's lamp and whatnot. So word is traveling amongst the G.I. Joes and everything about everything that's going on with Aladdin's lamp. And they're up here. It's like, well, the lamp got to be inside the base. We got to get inside the base before we can find this lamp. So, we got Quick Kick and Shipwreck going towards the base. And then the genie pops up again. And it's like, hey, we got to get inside the base. Like, nobody's leaving the battlefield. Nobody's getting inside the base. And he said no. So he keeping all the actual human members of G.I. Joe outside. So as of right now, Shipwreck is like, how Shipwreck is. He got these weird and strange ideas here. So it's like, and it just so happens I have an exception sitting right here, which is, if you remember the cartoon, good old Paulie. So meanwhile, we get all this epic battles between all these different members of G.I. Joe and Cobra here. So pretty much Barbecue gets messed up by the Cobra Hiss here, which is being ran by Cobra Commander, and he's up here, pretty much gloating as he does this. And then here comes Flint with the Sky Striker to shoot down who was that? No, that was just a regular Hiss that got Barbecue, and Cobra Commander is looking on high with a fang, with their small little one-man helicopter called the Fang here, and then Flint shoots him down off of the out of the air and everything. He goes crashing down and whatnot, and then Lady J is looking at everything that's going on from the air. And like I said, they're really G.I. Joe is really trying to coordinate their attacks and everything to allow for certain things to happen. And then that's where Shipwreck says, "Hey, we're working on getting inside to try to get to the lamp and whatnot." And he's standing there by the shark and whatnot. So now we got the Crimson Twins, playing to do to stop Shipwreck. Where Quick Kick comes in, he kicks one of the Crimson Twins, and you know how it is. You kick one, you hurt the other one at the same time. It's like that. It's like that whole type deal. It's like one feels, if one feels it, both of them feel it type deal. So now we see that Cobra Commander is stuck in a tree because his parachute got caught up and everything, and you got Wild Bill, Roadblock, and Recondo standing there looking up at him, and then they gotta go running because you got the Cobra Vipers behind them trying to kill them and whatnot. However, the thing that we didn't see, and the thing that kind of makes me go like, oh goodness, this is just like the 1980s cartoon. Scene shifts where we got Polly. All of a sudden, Polly is inside of the Cobra base, flying inside the Cobra base. We didn't see Polly go in, but all of a sudden, Polly is already, is inside. So this is part of the plan, I guess. So Polly flies and she sees the lamp. She goes and touches the lamp and everything, and then says, "Polly wants a cracker." And then all of a sudden, the cracker appears. And then Polly looks down at the lamp and says, "Polly wants Shipwreck." And then Shipwreck shows up out of nowhere. So now Shipwreck grabs the lamp and everything. And it's like, "Ahoy, Genie." It's like, "Sigh. And what is it that you wish here?" I'll tell you, I wish that everything Cobra Commander wished for was undone. Then I wish that I wish once this is all over, no one can find your lamp for 1,000 years. Granted. No, no one shall remember any of this but you. You still have one more wish, and you must make it before I depart. Great. I always love to have a secret. So pretty much he understands, like, this is the secret. He knows that he already saved everybody. So he thinks about his last wish, and all of a sudden
he wishes for Scarlet, doesn't he?
all of a sudden
covered in whipped cream.
All of a sudden you get this big flash of light, and it goes back to the Cobra Temple several days before. And you got the Cobra Commander with the parchment and everything. It's like, it can't be. I don't know what you were expecting, Commander, and everything. The lamp was not in that parchment that he sent Zartan for. And then, you got Baroness and Destro. It's like, are you getting a feeling of deja vu? And he says, "I am indeed, dear Baroness. I am indeed." However, back on the USS Flag, you have Shipwreck, Quick Kick, Spirit, and Snake Eyes playing poker, and look who has all the money. If you remember from issue number 1, Shipwreck was getting his brains beaten in on the poker table, and now he got all the money and whatnot. And it's like, and this is, and he was like, "Well, this is a new deck of cards." And Snake Eyes was like, "Yes, I agree. This is a brand new deck of cards." So it's like, how they were up here trying to figure out how is this happening and everything. That's like, it's a long story, and you'll never believe me if I told you so. But if I tell you what, I'm still feeling this lucky streak. It's going to last for a long while. So you fellas are in for another hand. your luck can't last forever, Shipwreck. Wanna bet? And that's how it is.
He can shuffle with gloves on. That's a superpower.
Yes. But the
He
thing
wished
that
to
I,
shuffle
the
his
thing that
gloves.
I love about these books is coming up, because so far in all 4 of these issues, the PSA got really real. And this time it got really real, plus being adult in some aspect. So the PSA starts out with Lady J talking about, in this story, you know, G.I. Joe pull off a big win through luck. And then say luck is useful, but you can't always count on it. It's like you always have to have a backup plan in place to make sure you can accomplish your goals. So you notice that it's just her so far, just, you know, her, you know, kind of dressed a little bit fancy and everything, and she's saying this. Then it comes to this scene here. It's like, I'm sorry, I forgot to make the reservations, Lady J. But I'll rustle up a couple of MREs. Do you want pot roast or chicken a la king? And that's Flint in the other room was like, uh-oh. I didn't make our reservations, but I got at least something. I gotta feed you something. And then she has that look of disappointment. Like, yeah, he ain't getting none. And make sure your backup plan is a good one. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Lucky me. G.I. Joe.
There you go.
So that's the end of Saturday Morning Adventures as a whole here. The rest of the pages here is just nothing but commercials for G.I. Joe, talking about the 40th anniversary issue, which is pretty much nothing but Snake Eye stories and everything, including the silent interlude, which was the story where there was no dialogue, no nothing. It was just all action, and pretty much they showed you all the different covers for issue number 4, and the homage cover to G.I. Joe the movie, if people recognize that scene.
Who did that cover, Joe?
That one was done by Larry Houston and colored by Cullen Davis.
Ooh, Larry Houston, cool. Because
Yeah.
I think he did some of the animation on the original series, and I know he worked on not just the Masters of the Universe cartoon, but also some of the booklets that went in with the toys.
Mm-hmm. And that was the other alternate cover for issue number 4.
Nice.
And then we got a commercial for Kanto, and then a commercial for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Armageddon game. And then on the very back page, we have the whole thing about Sleeping Beauties with Stephen King and Owen King.
Yay.
And that brings it to the end. Again, looking at all 4 issues as a whole, I was amused. I wasn't disappointed with the overall story itself. However, issue number 4 with the whole thing about Polly, I just had to, like, my comic book aspect of me wants to rip it apart and rip it a new one. It's like, this is some, say that it's some BS. However, the G.I. Joe fan of me, and knowing how they wrote the cartoon series, it made perfect sense for that to happen. So I'm at war with poor writing versus this is how the IP was introduced. They stayed true to the IP. I can't fault it for the way that they ended it with Polly. But at the same aspect, it's just like you shortcutted everything, because we didn't see Polly go in or give us any other foreshadowing other than Shipwreck saying, hey, I have an idea of how we could get past him. And we have the right member right here. That whole aspect of not seeing Polly sneaking past the genie or being overlooked by the genie. That to me plays a major factor writing wise. That was the missing caveat. But you kind of gave us that hint by Shipwreck's dialogue, which normally by the cartoon standards, that works. Because I see it cartoon wise, it's like, yeah, they're going to send Polly in, and all of a sudden it's like in the hallway scene, you have Polly kind of like doing like her version of F-bombs and everything, talking about, sure, Shipwreck, I'm going to go up in there and face the genie by myself. Right, Shipwreck, you owe me one, Shipwreck. You know, something like that would happen in the cartoon series, which kind of fits that theme a little bit better. But for what they did, it was great. So for the issue itself, I will give it a 7 out of 10. Now for the series as a whole, from issue 1 through issue 4, I will rate this series at an 8.5 out of 10. And that's pretty much my review in a nutshell.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Sounds like fun.
Fired again.
Hey, Carl Wisman says,
I don't care, Destro. Fire the Weather Dominator now.
Hey, Carl Wisman says, don't mess with the djinn. And I guess if you're suspending disbelief, or suspending belief rather, like having a genie, then I guess the parrot was part of it. There you go. Well, it sounded like it could have been one of the cartoons, which I would hope was one of the creators. Yeah.
It read, the whole plot point read like it could have been a episode or a couple of episodes of the cartoon.
Yeah.
How it comes out in this format, the end was just like, it just didn't have that same punch like how you could suspend disbelief with a cartoon, with an animated feature.
Right. Well, anyway, thank you, Joe. That was great.
And Shipwreck should have came up with some better wishes. I mean, we could have been
really.
in general by the end.
No,
Admiral Shipwreck.
That goes back to, well, I don't want to bore people with G.I. Joe lore. Technically, Shipwreck, if I remember correct, is like the 8th or 9th highest ranking person in G.I. Joe. And he could have been higher than that, but he doesn't want it because he doesn't like the responsibility. And those was his own words. He rather work by himself or assist where he can. He does not want the responsibility of having somebody else under him fall up under his command. Those were his exact words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He said, I'm better off helping somebody that's not up under me than to have a whole bunch of people up under me and watch them fall.
I also have something I would like all of you to ponder. You don't have to answer this or give a comment, but if the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Zaymot, each one feels whatever happens to the other one, everything that happens to the other one, that one feels?
Is this going back to that earlier way?
I think I know where you're going with this, but we're not that type of adult show.
Yet. I am willing
I don't think the creators went that far in thinking that.
Well, you have to think about it. In Renegades,
no alone time for either one of them.
In Renegades, they actually changed that.
Whoa!
I can see Eric was deeply influenced by the Hero-gasm episode of The Boys this week. So.
That was a letdown. I thought it was going to be so much worse than what it was. I mean, it wouldn't.
They did a lot of storytelling with that as a backdrop.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be super vulgar, disgusting, and I was like, okay, it's not bad.
Well, now my mind is going back to, with the twins, we've only got $50. I know what we can do.
No, again, my devious writer's mind is like this. What if the twins don't play for the same team?
Ooh. Oh, I like that.
And that happened. And it's like one is out their mind. Like, no, stop. No.
Oh,
makes for some
where's my
great writing.
disclaimers? Where are my
Great writing,
disclaimers?
but it's just so messed up thinking.
That's a comic book right there.
The Amazon Driven is voted by our audience viewpoint. Jody McFee does not reflect those of the cast and crew of Comic Book Spectrum. Yes, they do. But you can't leave the room until it does. Anyway. Well, I never thought we'd be in this position where it'd be up to me to elevate the tone of the show.
Neither did the brothers, apparently. So
no. Yeah.
No wonder one liked fighting Scarlet and Lady J, and the other one was like, nah.
Please address your hate mail to anyway.
G.I. Joe
Enterprises.
That's right. Oh. Well, anyway.
Why do I see the origin, the genesis here of Amazonia, the adult editions?
There we go.
You'd be surprised. People have asked me adult questions about that aspect of her, and they were surprised that I have answers for it.
Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised that they would ask you, and I'm not surprised that you have answers. But yes,
Yeah.
I can imagine some of the inquiries.
Yeah, I can too. Unfortunately, after working many years in the retail end of the adult entertainment industry. So anyway, let's move on. Anyway. I'll take this one for the team. Anyway, no, it was a light week for me because I only had, like we subscribed, some of us subscribe to this collector thing where we're told what came out this week. But the other one that was supposed to come out for me this week was Knights of the Dinner Table. That book is currently 5 months behind.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. It got behind a number of years ago, which has nothing to do with the previous conversation, by the way, about it got behind. Yeah, they've been chronically late for a number of months, but they're still listing themselves in previews, etc. Such. So that did not come in. Big surprise. But we will be reviewing one comic book, but this isn't it. Action Comics, of course, came in with a nifty little cover. They're still on War World. The art is kind of pastel, but as you remember, in a few months ago, Superman, I believe it was shown an arch with a very terrifying legend to come. But it's not this one in here. But there's all kinds of ickiness in here as the Mongol that is ripping his cronies apart, and one of the Superman's allies may have been turned. But what's Philip Kennedy Johnson wrote both of the stories in here. The backup, now that we're through with the John Jones Manhunter from Mars thing, is now a world without Clark Kent. And Johnson writes this one too, and this is about what happens with Clark being gone. And we see a new edition of Supergirl there along with John Henry Irons. But what really got me was the artist by David Lapham, who did a wonderful, very adult book a few years ago called Stray Bullets that is absolutely marvelous. And I don't know if he's done any work for Marvel, but he's done a little bit here and there for DC. This is probably the first true superhero work he's done since Broadway Comics or Valiant. So he's a discovery of Jim Shooter's. But he knows how to draw a story here. And this does tie into the lead story, which I understand will be coming back to Earth. And then we are getting a load of the lady in front of the Suicide Squad courting Kenny Braverman, who was a character called Conduit. And this isn't a bad book. I'm giving it like a 8.5 out of 10. It was good. It was good reading. But I'm still waiting for things to happen. Now, before we get to the comic review, I do want to say there are wonderful books out there, magazines, and all three of these are from Tomorrow's. And disclaimer, like Clyde does, I do work as a freelancer for tomorrow's. And this is not me earning my comps. This is me just telling you what's good out there. Last week we got right after. In fact, it was right after the show ended. My mailman showed up like at 9 o'clock at night.
What?
And yeah, seriously, we have a problem with our mail here in Lafayette. They actually skip days because they've got a lack of carriers. But anyway, the new Jack Kirby Collector came out, issue 83, with a, of course, get shocked, people. It's got a Jack Kirby cover on it. This one inked by Mike Mocklin, who used to ink Jerry Ordway on Infinity Incorporated. But something that's kind of new this issue is Kirby, believe it or don't, with nifty little factoids about Jack Kirby and things I didn't know. Like his first published art was the BBR Reporter, 1933 to 36, the newsletter of his local boys club. And this segues into
does Glenn know about this book?
Sorry?
Does Glenn know about this book?
Not well, I'm sure he does. He better if he's any fan at all. But anyway, also you get to see Kirby and his original pencils. Plus, they have a big annual. They have a transcript of the Jack Kirby tribute panel from 2020 at. It was the Zoom version of San Diego Con, and it reprints things like Alex Ross's original pencil sketch for his version of the cover of Fantastic Four #1. Lots of great insights from Ross and publisher John Morrow and Mark Evanier, Kirby, former Kirby assistant, Kirby fan supreme. And you see stuff here from his various works, including pencils and black and white work. You get to see the original cover of Sandman #1 from the 70s, not by Kirby, along with more factoids and original art and all kinds of really, if you want to study Jack Kirby in his rawest form, this is a great magazine. Plus, there's various insights. And one thing, they also have a huge article here about the rivalry between Jack Kirby and DC Comics in the late 50s. Long story short, one of the editors at DC Comics had finagled a gig for Jack Kirby to do a syndicated newspaper strip called Sky Masters, written by Dave Wood and penciled by Kirby, inked by Wally Wood. Beautiful art. Beautiful art. And there's some samples of some Wood inks in here, too, this issue. But during the course of the strip, which was doing quite well for Kirby, and Kirby at the time was freelancing mostly for DC, along with a little here and there for Marvel and Archie and Harvey, etc. Well, one day the guy Jack Schiff, who was editing the Batman books, comes up to Kirby and goes, "You owe me more money because your strip is a hit." See, back then, a number of the editors, including those at DC, were taking kickbacks from the creative staff in order so that it would keep a regular gig. Jack said, "No, I fulfilled my contract with you. I don't owe you any money." So the two started launching lawsuits at each other. Kirby won. And when the verdict was announced, Jack Schiff ran back to DC and announced to everyone Jack Kirby no longer works at DC whatsoever. And he couldn't come back till Jack Schiff retired in the late 60s. But anyway, it's all about the rivalry, about how the statues from Easter Island started appearing first at DC, then at Marvel, then at DC, then at Marvel, in kind of like a point-counterpoint kind of thing. That was fascinating. And also I learned here that the very first full credits in a Marvel comic happened in A Journey into Mystery number 86, November 1962. In this case, plot by Stan Lee, script by Larry Lieber, art Jack Kirby, and inks Dick Ayers. Back then, they did not always list the letterer, and they did not list the colorist. But first time various inkers inked Kirby. Every issue is a fountain of information. And this, if you love Kirby, it's a 10 out of 10 every time. This book is terrific. And you can get back issues from 2 twomorrows.com. So, also, we also got Back Issue Magazine, and it's all about various syndicated comic strips from the 70s and 80s, edited by my buddy Michael Urey, including Friday Foster, and also the Menominee Falls Gazette, which reprinted a number of classic newspaper strips. Also, little fun things, but a huge article here on the Amazing Spider-Man newspaper strip, which wrapped up a couple of years ago. And it has interviews with Alex Saviuk and Roy Thomas, who ghosted the scripting on that for a number of years, plus information on Howard the Duck, the newspaper strip, which was quite informative, and also the world's greatest superheroes featuring Superman, and of course, lots and lots of great artwork, and some real rarities such as a Milton Caniff illustration of Superman, and some of it shot from original pieces, original art, some of it from the newspaper, plus Starhawks by Ron Goulart and Gil Kane, and also the hit Richie Rich comic strip, which I didn't even know existed until then, the Star Trek comic strip, and Mike Grell's run on the Tarzan syndicated strip. There's a lot of information in here, too. Definitely pick this up. 10 out of 10. And if you're interested in Amazing Spider-Man, check in on Alter Ego. That's all I can say. Now, here's the one. Julie Newmar. This is a 28 out of 10. That's all you need to know. It is Julie Bleepin' Newmar, who is hot. And anyway,
who's that?
It's a 38, 24, 36 out of 10.
The thing is, she doesn't get enough credit. She is very intelligent, and she owns several patents, and she gives a delightful interview in here. She also was on Broadway in the Lil Abner play, and believe it or not, she played Stupefying Jones. Go figure. But it also has a history of post-Pebbles cereal.
Yeah.
And Fruity Pebbles, and a very terrifying couple of ad campaigns for other post cereals. A lot of great artwork from Scott Shaw, and an article on the Untouchables TV show with Robert Stack, classic show. Has some comic book things by buddy Will Murray and Stupefying Julie. And stuff. Anyway, about her career and such. Also, Astro Boy and the Slinky. Remember that thing we used to put down the parents' steps?
It's
also
Slinky. It's Slinky.
Yeah, and also a very short-lived show by one of the creators of the Outer Limits called Search, which they bring up, which is about a group of secret investigators who wore jewelry that would take people's pictures surreptitiously and data mine them. This show was like 50 years ahead of its time in a very tragic way. Plus things on a crush on David Selby, who played Werewolf on Dark Shadows, and the 1976 Soviet National Exhibition and also the Monkey Mobile and more, and Tarzan again in the animated series. Again, lots and lots and lots of really good information. Every issue in Retro Fan. It's not just comics, it's TV, radio, cartoons, toys, whatever. Check this magazine out. Retro Fan is Retro Fan is definitely available also, not just from your comic book store, but it is also available at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. So check the science fiction magazine rack for this, and horror magazines. And yeah, this is definitely a 10 out of 10. Now, Brian, when are you going to talk about comics? I'm glad you asked that. I've been waiting too. I'm not really familiar with Chip Zdarsky's work, but I only got one comic book. And I thought I've got to carry my weight around here. And so I went to Comixology. Okay. Comixology has books, e-comics, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read a lot of them for free, by the way. Well, Chip Zdarsky has a 2-issue series from Image called, and the title, if you know what I love to write, the title will say it all. Public Domain. All right. Now, I have to read the copy on this that attracted me to this. Sid Dallas is responsible for pop culture's greatest hero, the Domain, but his sons Miles and David have a complicated relationship with both the creation and their creator. Can they convince their dad to fight for their comics legacy? This fun and heartfelt series, written and illustrated by Eisner winner Chip Zdarsky, explores a wild alternate world where comic book creators aren't properly acknowledged or compensated for their creations. Crazy, I know. And the last line is, "Hi, it's me, Chip. I'm writing this solicitation." So, after that, how could I resist spending the $3.99 to pick up Public Domain? Now, I know there's a number of writer-artists in the industry, like Philip Kennedy Johnson, who does Action Comics, and some are more successful than others, but I was pretty happy with his art. It's it seems to be all Chip, and it's nicely done. And it takes more skill, in my humble opinion, to draw real people than it does superheroes. Because look at the shirt, for instance. Look at all the wrinkles in it. Because my body is wrinkled, it's hideous. But anyway, it's look at all the folds in it. That doesn't. Or the shirt? Yes. But you can iron out the shirt. Trying to do it on me will elicit the most horrifying of screams. But anyway, you can see that Eminent Domain is a new movie coming out. And Chapter 1, weren't we the bad guys? Eminent Domain is now owned by a corporation that is exploiting it in the form of a new movie. One of the sons that you see here is a journalist who is reluctantly being told, you have to cover the premiere of this movie. Now, his father is attending the movie because his father created the Domain. However, the corporation, kind of like Archie does with Archie Andrews, that it's common knowledge that Bob Montana created it and was the first writer-artist on it. But the publisher at that time was very careful to say, oh, no, he didn't. He did it off an idea of mine, which later was revealed to be something like, hey, Bob, would you do a teenage strip for us? That might be fun. So anyway, really good stuff. And if you're an artist, if you want to learn how to, or a writer especially, if you want to learn how to portray people and not make them talking heads, look at the body language, look at the expressions and the lighting, the drama you can use. This explains to me why Zdarsky is an Eisner winner. So anyway, here's the real writer of the current book. And he's got an assistant who happens to be a very big comic fan, wants to go into writing, doesn't care about prose, darn her, but she loves comic books. And now here's where the son is getting assigned to the, not only getting assigned to the premiere, he's being told it's do it or hit the bricks. And so he goes where he meets the actor in charge who portrays the Domain. And after a small exchange, the actor winds up getting his dental work rearranged. So that's, and then here comes the other brother who is a tattoo artist who has a van, which I can identify with. And there's some quiet moments, some good pacing. And we won't go into all of it, but in going through the papers for what the company wants to do is print a couple of script pages as a promo thing. This lady here discovers a terrible secret about the Domain that could change up a lot of things if it's revealed in issue 2, which is out next month. This was an astoundingly good book. I went in with no expectations whatsoever. Public Domain. I love the Public Domain, and but there's some very human reactions here. Like, let's see here. Like when everyone is watching the show, half of them are falling asleep, the girl looks back and sees the creator. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. A lot of great moments like that. This is an exceptional book, and I'm glad I have it on this instead of paper, because this means my copy will always be mint. Sorry to hear about yours. I'm having this slabbed. By the way, I'm having my iPad slabbed. Anyway, yeah, lots of good stuff in here. And I never knew what a rum smoothie was, but apparently there is one in here. Public domain.
Slush?
That's what I'm thinking. You know, it's kind of like a margarita. I feel a new quest coming on. Carl, help me with this. So anyway, Public Domain was a really, really good book, and I heartily recommend it. This was definitely, and if you want to get a physical copy of it, I don't blame you, but just get a copy of this. It's $3.99. It's awesome. It's a 10 out of 10 with me. This is what great storytelling is about, and I'm on board for the next issue. So that's my review of Public Domain.
I ordered it, but it didn't come in. Most of the time when I order something that isn't DC or Marvel, it takes an extra week to get it at our comic book shop. But I ordered it because Zdarsky's been writing Newburn, the Newburn story title that I've been reviewing off and on. And I think he's quite a good storyteller. I do have a question, though.
Yes.
Does the publisher of the newspaper that the young man works for, does he know the familial relationship between the reporter and the creator of his father? Wouldn't that be a conflict of interest if he does?
You would think so, but then again, knowing journalistic standards these days, well, you know, it doesn't give the impression that he was assigned this because of his basically inside information, as he's a good writer, but he's not even in the entertainment department, but mostly because he's a good writer and he may have been the only one available. So I hope that answers the question there. But
that stuck out to me as most of the time a good editor would probably try to find somebody else, because, you know, especially if there's been any kind of past history of the creator versus the corporation over who did what, and, you know, who's to be given credit and all that. You wouldn't want to stick a kid of the creator in the middle of that, because
well, that's true. Well, the thing is also, one of the subplots is the fact that the creator has never made a stink in the courts or anywhere about ownership, about the creation of the character.
Okay.
And like I said with the Archie parallel, that basically someone else is taking credit, and this guy's off his own script, but for whatever reason, he's not fighting it. And one of the subplots is that the two brothers want him to fight for it because it's basically their family legacy. Just like with Laura Siegel and Jerry Siegel's wife fighting for the right to Superman, because their dad co-created that and they felt they had a right to it as such. So
Carl's got your back.
Yeah.
Oh, he does. I was just noticing that. So anyway, let's get in this. And Donna says, she's laughing, got behind. Oh, you mean it's late? Yeah, Donna. That's just what I meant. Anyway, and Carl Whistler says, our mail often comes after dark. Not quite that late, though. Yeah, here in this part of the compound, we have gotten our mail as late as 9:30 at night. UPS has driven by and dropped off the packages then. And we love Search. I did, too. For those of you who don't know, it also starred Burgess Meredith. Lee Merriweather was a semi-regular on there. Who had great guest stars like Joanna Cameron. But the three agents were Hugh O'Brien from westerns in the 50s, and another western actor, Doug McClure, and Tony Franciosa, who played
Matt Helm.
Matt Helm, that's right. He's also in a TV series called The Name of the Game several years earlier. So, and Carl Witzman, my man here, is looking at rum slushy now. And get your pens and papers, America. In a blender, pineapple juice, frozen orange juice, and lemonade, rum and Sprite. Blend until smooth, pour into glasses, and garnish glasses with lime slices. Frozen OJ and frozen lemonade would work too. Very cool. Very cool. All right,
Ted,
and
we need an instruction video. Ted, you out there?
yeah, really. There we go. Yeah, this would be good for Friday nights for him. And yes, Clyde, I see your note here. Yes, Schiff won the suit against Kirby, then spitefully got him kicked out of DC.
Well, I think you said that Kirby won, and I'm like, I don't think so. So I looked it up real quick because Schiff won, and then still got rid of Kirby out of the bullpen at DC.
Okay.
And you were right; he couldn't work there again until they went to bat for him and got him in the early '70s because Schiff was finally retired by then. But
yeah, in the late '70s, that's when they had that big editorial shakeup where they got rid of Schiff was allowed to retire.
Late '60s, you mean?
Late '60s, yeah. Around '68, yeah. Because he was doing, he had to trade off the bat books in '64 to Julie Schwartz, who gave Schiff the science fiction titles, Strange Adventures and Mystery in Space. Mm-hmm. Mystery in Space got canceled. Remember, that was the era of Ultra the Multi-Alien.
Right.
Mystery in Space got canceled. Strange Adventures went on, but Jack Miller became editor. Then they fired him because he was stealing artwork from the company and re-invoicing for old scripts. And they got rid of him. Then Strange Adventures. Yeah, then Dick Giordano was editor, and then it went all after they finished the Dead Man series in there. Julie Schwartz took it back over and made it a science fiction reprint book. So more than you needed to know, kids, but that's how we work here.
And if you get a chance, go back and look at the Kirby newspaper strip art that that's some of the best detailed Kirby art. It's not as stylish as later on. But no, I just love it. It's kind of like the 50s version of Dick Calkins, Buck Rogers, his original art.
Yes.
It's very, very science intensive, and there is some fantasy to it, but it's much more realistic than a lot of Jack's stuff.
Yeah, let me give you the screen here just to give you an idea. Here's shot from the original art. And I know that you can only see so much of it. But it's definitely Kirby, but Wally Wood brings that sense of illustration and deep shadow to his work. That I wish they had more people in this, but you can probably see it like right in that one panel in the upper right there. It's pure Kirby. And yeah, it's one of the more highly acclaimed science fiction newspaper strips. It only lasted like 2 or 3 years, I think it was. But it was gorgeous work.
And Donna, you're right. Dean Martin played Matt Helm in movies, but Tony Franciosa, it was a TV series where he played Matt
Very
Helm.
short-lived series. Neither one were like the Donald Hamilton books, though, was the thing. Because Dean Martin was kind of camp and played up as a kind of a James Bond spoof, whereas I know the Tony Franciosa Matt Helm was played on the ABC late-night movies.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Which replaced Dick Cavett. Every week they had like once a month they'd have Geraldo Rivera on back when he was a journalist, and then editorializing.
That was still questionable then, wasn't it?
A little bit, yes. And they also had things like an adaptation, a very poor adaptation of "It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman."
Oh yeah.
Although the cast was great, Loretta Swit, Leslie Ann Warren, Alan Ludden, David Wayne. I mean, a lot of good stuff.
Jack
Cassidy.
Jack Cassidy. Was
David and Sean's father. And Patrick's, but Matt Helm was on there occasionally. They also ran episodes of Quiller from Great Britain, and they had a series of movies written by Brian Clemens, who helped with the Avengers, the good one, Steven Peele. But anyway, yes, Dean Martin did play, like Clyde said. Dean Martin played him in the movies, and Tony Franciosa. And Tony Franciosa's version, he was kind of like it wasn't as much fun as Dean Martin. But it wasn't as hard-boiled as the Donald Hamilton books. It was kind of meh, really.
Yeah.
So, and Ted is sleeping on the job tonight. Well, darn him to heck. And Donna, I guess Tony played Matt Helm on TV series. I am powerful with the Google food tonight. There we go. Donna says okay, and late night series. No wonder I didn't see it. Yes, I would usually go in groggy the next morning, depending on what the show was. But yeah, and then Friday nights they had like in concert, if I remember. Just before midnight special on NBC. That's how we spent our weekends back then. But anyway, that's enough of TV history. But anyway, hope everybody please educate yourself in the medium here. Comics have a glorious history, and it's good to see the stuff that's come up in the past so you understand why comics suck so bad in the present. But anyway, on that positive note, let's leave this now to Clyde Hall. Yeah, Joe, I know it gets worse from here. Anyway, here he is, the one we all aspire to be, Clyde Hall.
Oh, it's all downhill from here, guys. I'm telling you right now.
Not for me.
The stuff that I picked up this week includes variants from Marvels. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. It got very quiet, so I just wanted to make sure I was.
We're in awe.
Okay.
Now, Clyde, is that the regular cover or the variant cover?
The variant cover? I don't know.
They're all the variant cover.
I guess, yeah. I didn't notice any others on the LCS shelves here, so this is the only variant that we had anyway, I think. But smaller shops probably have less chance of having the other kind. But Gail Simone doing a Jessica Jones mystery. In fact, it says a Jessica Jones mystery story, and Gail Simone is one of my favorite writers, and so I was expecting, some really good stuff. And the first issue did not disappoint at all. It's excellent. And Marvel, they do the shotgun effect. They put out a lot of product, and some of it is just sort of death of the Amazon forest, but sometimes they put out some quality stuff, and I will be getting the entire run of this series, and I may do some reviews of future issues, or maybe this one before the month is out, where our 30-day expiration for new reviews comes into play. But if you want to read a good Jessica Jones story, if you want to read a very good multiverse kind of story, it's a very, very good title to pick up. And that was about the only one this week, so I'm glad it was a good one, because my pull list was pretty sparse. Now, on the show, we've been talking about a couple of smaller companies that have been doing some very good work. We've talked a lot lately about two of them, in fact. Aftershock Comics. They have some of my favorite stuff coming out. They just launched two different apocalyptic sci-fi titles in the last month regarding space travel, and they presented global cautionary tales in each one about responsibility of stewardship on the planet. And you would think two titles of such a similar kind of approach and theme would be redundant, but Aftershock made these two books completely different from each other. Their execution exceeded both concepts in different ways. So I gotta take my hat off to Aftershock just for their quality of different titles. And for a small company, they have a lot of variety in what they put out there. The other company that's popped up on our radar in the last few months is AWA, or Artists, Writers, and Artisans. I reviewed The Crimson Cage, which was a Macbeth as seen from a 1980s or early 90s wrestling parable. They have very solid talent, a pool that is expanding, and they're steadily improving their limited series. They're also aligned with film interests, promoting their books for adaptations sooner rather than later. So this is an element I was not aware of until the work that I am going to review this week came up, which brings me to my review. It's actually a preview of 3 titles soon releasing from AWA. And what I'm going to review is a trade paperback that was made especially for the Tribeca Festival in New York City called Lesser Evils. Again, it's Artists, Writers, and Artisans. AWA is the publisher. Now, these were given out, I understand. My local comic book shop got a copy, and they were kind enough to let me have it. But I see on, since the Tribeca Festival in mid-October or mid-June, they've shown up on eBay for about $16.99 is the suggested price, I guess, for people selling the things they got free at the show. But each of these is coming out in their own title. So this is just a little preview of what's coming out from AWA soon in their Lesser Evils imprint. They're all written by Ian Grody. The art is by Yishan Lee. Letters by DC Hopkins. And it is, I would call it rated M for mature. I think it would be appropriate for older tweens all the way up into young adults and older. But while I write for various sites, this is my own independent feature. It should not be considered representing any views of those sites or the views of Comic Book Spectrum. So thanks to my LCS friends at Colossus Comics and Games in beautiful downtown Mount Vernon, Illinois, I received this complimentary TP from AWA. And I didn't even have to go to New York to have a Tribeca Festival edition. Lesser Evils was distributed there earlier this month, and Tribeca, for the most people have heard of it, but it provides artists with unique platforms to expand the audience for their work, and it broadens the consumer access to experience storytelling, independent films, and media. So they made this preview of titles, which they're going to be premiering over the next few months under their Lesser Evils imprint. And the content includes one issue each of Emmett and Thrifter. And you can see they have a map that shows where they take place in New York on the back. Very New York-centric stories. And then they have the first two issues of Gin, Ginn, but it's about a genie. So, Carl, stay tuned. This is another Gin take. All these tales also happen in New York City. They're centered there like a 1960s Marvel House of Ideas urban bias was, but this is for modern pop fantasy instead of superheroes. And just like that, in early Stan Lee fashion, scripter Ian Grody has penned each of the stories, beginning with Emmett. So I'm going to show you some artwork from each of these. They have a very nice intro page that explains what they're up to here. Here is connections for the Kabbalah of Lydia Lowe and Lesser Evils. The cover of Emmett. It's all very connected. And let's see here. Here is the opening fugue state of Emmett. A young sculptor is dealing with some pretty harsh real-world reality here. I think that Yishan Lee has sort of a cartoonish style, but it works. It settles in really well for this. Here's the cover of Gin, the genie-inspired story. And again, we get two issues of it, which is good because it kind of has a cliffhanger for the first one. I thought that was pretty well planned, that they gave you a little bit more look at that. They also have some fun with ads, fake ads. We've got the get lost in the sauce. When you wish upon a bar, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. Gin, your deepest dreams, bottled. Just like a vintage booze ad. I thought that was a clever take. And then here's the cover for Thrifter. And here's where things start to get, in their title, where things start to get out of hand with the magical creature involvements. Okay, so in Emmett, the first offering here, what happens when a young Bushwick potter and sculptor named Lydia gets suddenly and unceremoniously, well, for lack of a better term, dumped by her enamored Stephen? Well, in fact, she gets dumped in a session where he invites his new girlfriend along to the cafe to keep things civil in public while they discuss the determination of their relationship. It gives you kind of an idea, the sort of person that she's dealing with here. And, what happens when that happens is hurt. Deep, deep anger. Inner turmoil. And it's not the sort that just bubbles into public drama to the jerk that played this part so perfectly. It's rage which sends Lydia back to her studio into a destructive frenzy. She throws all of her clay work in progress into the dumpster, along with her shattered hopes, loves, and dreams. And it's a potent mix, in this case, of unfulfilled creative potential and desire, and it's affection that is now turned to vengeance. And the result is a conjured Kabbalah-ish golem creature, small, but dedicated to serving Lydia's desires for revenge and affection, after a fashion. Together, Golem and creator prank Stephen and his rock band. They vandalize his property. They do unsanitary things with his toothbrush. But soon, Emmett, Lydia's name for her lively little construct, seeks a darker and potentially deadly path to retribution. And it's a very satisfying story. In Jin number 2, or in Jin 1 and 2, we meet a human-Jin hybrid from Williamsburg, New York, and part of New York City. He has been attached to a human family for a long, long, long time, thanks to what seems to be an enchanted lamp and ring. The latest in that line, Scooter, has used the limited wish capability of this half-breed called Ginn, Jin, to become a wealthy drug lord and self-obsessed sensualist. But in a rare moment of personal introspection, Scooter takes the high road and he severs the bonds of servitude that held Jin in his power. So, what does a wish-fulfilling guy suddenly without a master do? Well, apparently he hangs out in a small watering hole and drinks himself silly every night because he doesn't have purpose anymore. He's the guy that wanted to be free for generations probably, and then when he is, doesn't know what to do with himself. Until, while he's on a bender, he meets and insults Jazz. That's a young woman collecting for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. After a ralphing on her chucks, Jin tries making monetary contribution amends, only to be turned down by the young woman, who selflessly works at benefiting others. She has no use for somebody that seems as self-centered as he is. Well, he manages to get a temporary reprieve, and he volunteers for rounds at the local children's hospital with her. And a snarky friendship begins, and Jin's abilities, subtly applied, support and further Jazz's work nicely. He can't just cure things with a wave of a magic wand, but he does make the lives of the children that she's trying to help better. And he's found a new hands-on kind of niche that he can fill. Naturally, when Scooter comes to his senses and comes back wanting his Jin under submission and his control again, criminal and supernatural conflicts commence. And in the final entry, the first issue of Thrifter, young Greenpoint entrepreneurs, Jen and Adrina, apply their eyes for design and the secondhand treasures market to create their own world of decor opportunities in a boutique that they call Thrifter. They're edgy, they're daring, they're trending, and as very recent graduates of NYU with bills to pay, they are in need of a quick cash infusion before they lose everything. So their situation is not helped when a recent haul of used goods includes a strange wooden totem. As their partnership continues its wayward and stress-filled way, this relic appears to be feeding and inspiring the chaos around it. Never a good turn of events when one of the second-hand items in your second-hand shop turns out to be a cursed relic of the First Order. So each of these stories that they have presented here have a flair for young adult audiences with razor-sharp dialogue and humorous turns amidst the fantasy. Even when the fantasy goes dark, the landscape, thanks to Grody, remains pretty upbeat. While some of the storylines seem bent on a dire direction, with a macabre twist or a comeuppance in the final act, none of that goes into the mean or overly unseemly areas that they easily could. The emphasis is instead on relationships, human foibles, and interactions between mortals and the denizens of a world mostly obscured from our five senses, until those creatures become known to us. The good. The cast of characters here do have a youthful and, even within limits, hopeful, if sometimes jaded, outlook. They seem more like the young couple who live next door or the college kid down the way. Then they feel like pure comic book narrative confectionery. It's very well, the characters are built very well for what's intended in this title. Grody's dialogue isn't as rapid fire as you'll find in something like the Gilmore Girls, but it's a match for upbeat, introspective tone and witticisms. The emotions of the characters feel genuine and valid, from snark to revels. Yishan Lee's art style, it's like I said, it's kind of simplistic in its quality, and it works for the stories presented here. She's also doing the colors, so I love the prismatic color palette that chronologically or chromatically captures New York City. At least I think it did. I've never been to New York, so I can only imagine, but it looks like a lot of the things, it looks like it's in tone with a lot of New York aesthetic. Her work, along with that of letterer D.C. Hawkins, is further highlighted in faux ad imagery, like that insert, the Mumbai Gin advert, and this shared creative spirit buoys the vibe of each story above the fantastic or the supernatural elements alone. Grody and Lee are having a really good time exploring these characters. You can tell it just by looking at how they present the lettering and the art, and their relating these adventures never gets bogged down into just supernatural consequences. Lee's style is as upbeat as the writing, even when chronicling a setback for the protagonists or downturns in the story. It elevates spirits, and it doesn't mire the reader with overmuch gloom and doom. It's just presenting challenging threats and interesting takes on mythological and legendary tropes. We also get a look at a layout by artist Chaya Yingwu, behind the scenes work. It's a nice element to the making of category that they put it in this book. The bad. Okay, the aforementioned younger gen shorthand of expression, the dialogue presented in clipped and abbreviated fashion, at times may vex older readers. As hip and cool as I am, I still had to reread a few bits, and I had to go look up some things. I had to go and consult the Urban Dictionary for one of the phrases, at least.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, I know.
I was about to get ready to say the Urban Dictionary works for me.
yeah. But as so that could be aggravating to some older. But I was invested in the story enough to do that without even thinking about it and go right back to the story. So I think that speaks well for the storytelling chops at work here. Now, the lettering has some times where it also adds to that between the dialogue. The lettering should flow, of course, page to page, bring you along with it. There are a few places where maybe to preserve the art, the balloons kind of make it hard to know where to go next. Only a few times, though. It's a very minor point, but it was there. The story had me hooked deeply enough. Like I said, I didn't even hardly notice it at the time. I did make a note of it, but it wasn't anything that really lessened my enjoyment of the trade paperback. So the takeaway from all this, all these stories in this collection have a modern approach that young readers, I think, will really appreciate. Older 20s to 20-somethings, most especially. It's a savvy and it's a smart examination of supernatural creatures and mystical items through the urban lens of New York's youth that are exploring the steep cultural inclines of today's culture in urban settings. And they're also coming into their own during this. So it's an enjoyable mingling of metrocentrals and magics and mythology with humorous and unexpected results. So my score for Lesser Evils, the Tribeca Festival Edition, TP, is 7.5 Big Apples out of 10.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. That does sound good.
And again, if you don't want to, I wouldn't spring $16 for this. It's an introduction to several series that are going to be coming along at $3.99 or $4.99 cover price. But if you like the sound of any of those, check it out. I love this cover, by the way. I love the trippiness. The trippiness of that is it. Tribeca Festival. Yes, this definitely is a cover that would fit there. So,
most excellent. Well, thank you, Clyde.
Thank you.
Now, our comments, continuing the thread from earlier, Donna Carleen says, Carl just doesn't like genies because every time he hears the word gin, he thinks of drinking. And Carl assures her that I'm already drinking. There is no thinking about it. And I like Clyde's overview of the overview.
Overview.
Nicely said. And Parallax Spectre, hi all, sorry we're late. Well, we're glad to have you here anyway, Parallax. Glad you could show up. And YouTube, Pops Van Zandt with Comics Talk. Check him out. Also check out his nightly programming as well as CromCon last weekend of the month. Good to see you, Pops. So did and I hear gin and I think of Keyshawn Booze.
Qui-Gon Booze.
Yeah, there we go. That's the new signature alcohol from who would it be? It'd be from Disney Plus now. And Comics Talk Podcast and CromCon 27 will be brought to you live from the floor of Savannah, Georgia Comic Con. Are you ready for this? No. Okay, thanks for you, Pops. And Donna's saying hello to everybody there. All right. So that we have caught up with the comments for now. Did anybody have anything they wanted to discuss? Anything that leaped out of them with the comic news?
I noticed something. I noticed Tom King was really trying to rattle some business up for this Batman Catwoman number 12. I
saw that, yes.
And the responses were not really very good. They were about 50-50 of, oh, yes, I've been waiting for this for so many years. Thank you, Mr. King. And then all the way over to...
no, you didn't, Cindy. Mwah. CKOEPP.com.
We're still here.
All the way over to a lot of people going, yeah, fool me once. Ain't happening again.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the whole 2018, we're going to get married. Oh, no, we're not. No, we're getting married this time, and this time we mean it. I took a peek at Comics Roundup. It's got a 7.4, I think, rating from critics.
Okay.
A 4.2 from readers.
Wow.
Yeah.
It reminds me of those Rotten Tomatoes scores where like Rotten Tomatoes gives something like a 3 out of 100, but the fans give it like a 99.
But in reverse.
Yeah.
It's I think they dropped the ball. I don't think anybody was willing to pick it back up, and they had a lot of copies at my LCS. I didn't see anybody running off with. Not even the speculator crowd wasn't like running off with tons of them or anything.
I saw a post. I don't know if it was on Twitter or Facebook about Batman Catwoman get married. I'm like, what? This is an old post? Oh, they're doing it again.
Well, they're doing it for real.
For real, yeah. Until Batman needs to make a deal with Mephisto to save Alfred, and the marriage will be forgotten by everybody.
Yeah. And I thought about that. Is married the new dead in comics? It's like, we do have Lois and Clark is doing pretty good, but yeah, things like Peter and MJ and Ralph and Sue Dibney a few years ago of the tragic Life in the Fridge. So, but I don't know. It's just sort of it's about as it seems about as temporary as death when they want it to be. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's like ever since they with multiverse theory out there,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be cognizant that there is a multiverse where they did marry way back when.
True.
They were married at one time. So it's like, to me, this is like nothing new.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it seems like fandom today is like they're not really keen on that. They're not. I don't know why, but they're just not keen on it. Just like how back in the early 2000s, you had all these people keen on, Clark and Diana. I was like, no, won't work. Never will work. Never will work. Personality differences.
Yeah.
And eventually that would have came out. It would have eventually came out, personality differences.
Right. Well, the thing gets me is like being a married person for 31 years. Joe
longer than Joe's been alive.
I know.
Bravo to you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know how Cookie did it, but anyway, but no,
does Cookie know?
Shh. But no, in the early 2000s, I remember Joe Quesada was getting very vocal. The Bill Gemmis days when they're shooting their mouths off about everything, and one of the things was Joe said, you shouldn't have any superhero characters who are married. That's death to a strip. They called it the James Bond syndrome. Like at the end of on Her Majesty's Secret Service, where you marry James Bond and then you die, and he thought that was fine. I think it shows a disturbing mirror to the thinking of a lot of comic book creators who think that you have to have that sexual tension. Obviously, they've never seen a Thin Man movie.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the Thin Man with Robert Powell and Myrna Loy, they are married, and the sexual tension is palpable. They're waiting for the camera to get off of them so they can. Never mind. I was about to get redundant, but
well, we have to look it up on
Urban Dictionary.
I forgot the site.
Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, just go to Pornhub and look up my name. But anyway, spine licking. That's it. But no, like they dissolved the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane, Parker. There have been times when they were trying to do in Lois and Clark too.
Now, in that variant comic that I talked about from Marvel, they make very good use of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones being married. That's a big part of the beginning part of the story. And that reminded me, there's another couple that have been together a while, and it seems to be working nicely. But I don't know. I was just amused how much King was trying to drum up some business, and most of the fans that I saw the responses from, it was about 50-50. But the ones that weren't having it were not having it. They didn't. They were all on board back a few years ago when it fell through.
They've been fooled before. They're tired of getting fooled.
I saw a cute little cartoon. I was going to share it with our group, but then you're scrolling on Facebook and you see something, you want to go back to it, and you never find it again.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's while you're looking at it, just poof. But it was a cow that was Batman, but he was all like drained out, and all it was like a skeleton with the skin dripping off him. And here comes DC with a bunch of milk buckets. Time to milk again.
That is very apt. That is very apt.
That was good.
Oh. And
that milk.
That's right. Ain't the bad pulls they're tugging on. And Parallax Spectre says, I'm tired of 4,711 covers for every book. Grr, hold me back, Jody. And I did put in the private chat that there were variant covers. 3 of them.
There's 2 variant covers for the book variant.
Okay.
3 actually. Ben Caldwell, Ashley Witter, and Scotty Young, with the regular version that Clyde showed was by Phil Noto.
Right.
So I looked it up. And let's see here. Comics Talk, everybody's saying hi to Cindy. And Ace Bonnie is here to heckle Brian. Heckle. It's okay. I can handle it. Thanks,
Definitely,
Ace. I'm glad you're here,
Gotta
buddy.
do Jekyll, Jekyll, Jekyll too. Then
I was just thinking that I should, and then you and I would be the only two who know that reference. And no heckling. Brian says, "Parallax Spectre, God bless you. He is a prince among men and his fine headgear." I'm sorry, Joe.
I said, "Old top, you won't be the only two."
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. And yes, these writers think married equals dead, or worse than dead in some cases. Everyone's
Sometimes.
saying hello. And I won't heckle Brian. I'll let Kara do it. Kara doesn't heckle me very much. She's nice to me. I love you, Ace. And writers married to each other, who'd want to do that? I know, Donna, right? Now, if it's an editor and a writer married, that's hot. And everyone's saying hello, and that's longer than I've been alive, 1994. Get off my lawn, Parallax Spectre. I love you, though. And drinking and sex within marriage, what a concept. I know. I wait till everyone's sitting down, and heart to heart on TV, excellent take on Nick and Nora. Definitely.
There you go. There you go.
And the stupid crew clock is poking me to get over there. I just bet they are. And good show tonight. Have a good evening. Hey, good evening to you. Thank you for being here, Carl. Stupid Clock is on right now. Check them out on their YouTube channel and give them our love. And no heckling, BKM. Okay, I'm done. Love you, Donna. You can do it tomorrow morning. How's that sound? So anyway, and we are about out of time. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark here, unless somebody else has something else vital to discuss.
Nothing vital, but Substack. Did you guys see they're laying off a bunch of people?
Oh no!
I did. Yeah.
After all these creators jumped over there.
Yeah. Love you, Donna. See you later. But yeah, I saw that too. I wonder how that's going to affect the comic creators on there. I wonder if they're making any coin on there.
I think they already got paid up front.
Ah, okay.
They don't care.
Yeah, screw them. So anyway, let's all go around the room and tell everybody how to keep in touch with them. I'm hearing a little bit of echo.
Yes, on your side.
Mine?
I think it's from the Bat Cave.
Hello?
Hello?
You're good. I hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Well, whoever it is.
Hello.
Well, we'll just get through this then, all right? And for the one person still watching. Anyway, we'll start with Joe. We'll go counterclockwise. And Joe, tell everybody how to keep up with you.
It's right there on the screen. Can't miss
Okay,
it.
thank you, Joe. Oh. No, go on. I'm sorry.
It's right there on the screen. Just hit that link where you get to see every bit of social media that I'm on, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, everything, including DeviantArt, and now Reddit, if need be. So it's all there. Also, you can get to me this upcoming Saturday, where we'll be part 3 of our discussion with well, I shouldn't say discussion about preservation versus investment. And this week's episode is going to be talking about, is there really a need for a pricing guide for raw books?
All right, interesting. Thank you very much, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And next is the zombie slayer himself, Eric Hawkins. And Eric, tell everybody again what you're going to be drawing.
We're doing Canadian Shield tonight, who's up on Indiegogo right now for issue 2. I really don't know much about the characters. He's a big hulking character, and he wears a cape, and he's a Indian. Well, I guess I know more than I thought. He's a Native American, Native Canadian American, maybe, who got his powers through some kind of shaman and stuff, and he fights crime. So we'll be drawing that at 9:00 on Chester C. Busby's channel. Other than that, as Stone Door Studios, we just don't do Zion for World of Oz. We do fulfill European books. So we have a campaign running right now for Obsidian #1, which is a 56-page comic book. It's funded, but they still have 14 days to go. And I've read the book. The book is 100% complete. It's really good. There's additional art tiers if you want. I have all the art here because they mailed it to me from the Czech Republic. Which my postman did not want to deliver to my house for some reason. He kept putting a note on the door. I'm like, and the mailbox is right on the other side of this wall. I'm like, I'm here. I know you didn't knock. I know you didn't do crap. So, but check them out. I help out the indie creators that need help over in Europe to get stuff fulfilled over here. We got this will be the second book I'll be fulfilling. And it's not a big crowd, but most of their audience is here in the States. So to cut down on shipping costs from there to here, we could distribute it here and save the backers quite a bit of money. So other than that, follow me on social media, Eric Hawkins. You can find me everywhere. We got Zomaful Adventures coming out, and I think I'm going to launch in September, hopefully. Zomaful World of Oz will start going out to backers probably sometime next week, because most of the books will be here tomorrow, except for the hardback. Still waiting on those. But after the regular issues coming tomorrow, that's all I'm waiting on is the hardbacks. So I got everything else. Other than that, Thursday night, come check us out here. We'll talk comic books, and you can learn about odd sex phrases from Clyde that you have to go look up on the internet, and everything's good.
Thank you so much, Eric. And here he is, the one, the only, Clyde Hall.
And closing sex phrases for the night. No.
I'm going to my Urban Dictionary. Give me a moment.
I'm Clyde Hall, independent author and contributing writer. And where do I, pray tell, contribute? Well, you can find my online comics reviews at www.comicsbookcase.com, although hopefully by next week, I'm going to have an announcement regarding Comics Bookcase and my association with them and venues for my reviews. I am also at www.doomrocket.com, where this week I have submitted and they have posted a review of Aftershock Comics Astronaut Down #1. Go to doomrocket.com if you want to read my review of that. And also, they put up an undercover with some of their favorite covers from June, and I've got a review in that too. I'm also a contributing writer at Stormgate Press, with works appearing in their award-winning anthology series, Pulp Realities 1, 2, and 3. And you can also find...
Three beautiful novels.
Yes. You can also find my short story, which is Hooray for Halloween, in the recently released Tim Bruckner's Major Marjorie anthology, along with Brian K. Morris and Jim Beard and Alessia Kent. All those titles and many, many more are available at Amazon, or you can also see everything that Charles F. Milhouse is cooking up by going over to www.stormgatepress.com. Plus, you can tune in for all the fun and frivolity of NCBD +1 every Thursday night right here on Comic Book Spectrum.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Clyde.
Thank you.
All right. And I'm Brian K. Morris, and the room's getting rather warm in here tonight. So we're going to make this as quick as possible. Ace Bonnie, see you tomorrow morning. It's me heckling BKM, Echo, virtual hug right back at Jace. Love you, man. You have a great, great evening, my friend. And also, speaking of Major Marjorie, I have my story in here, Invasion, Take 2. Is in this book, along with the aforementioned wonderful people. And thanks to Charles F. Milhouse for editing and publishing this extravaganza. And speaking of my stories, check out Snow Shorts Volume 2. My story, Snow Ambition, won the Pulp Factory Award for Best Short Story. Pick it up. Yeah. Pick it up and find out why. All right. Plus, you can find out everything about me at risingtide.pub. Also, I'm available. My books are available on Smashwords. Also, Amazon, you may have heard of them, and as well as stormgatepress.com, benbooks.com, bobbynash.com. You can also find us, believe it or not, on walmart.com, booksamillion.com, just about any place that sells books. Chances are you'll find me there. And something else you'll find are my wonderful people on Patreon. And we really thank them. They keep the show going, our shows going, and they're going to get mentioned in my next book. And in fact, they got some of them got to see the very first chapter of the next Volcana book. So please tune in and find out what I offer in exchange for your direct financial support at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Also, we are brought to you tonight by Rising Tide Publications. Check out the Terrors coming out later this summer, as well as our ongoing sponsors. And Jeffrey Hayes, we love you, brother. And that is Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You'll thank yourself if you look up their Facebook page and then also check out plasmafiregraphics.com, where you can learn what Jeffrey Hayes' independent creator friendly rates are for all the graphics you're going to need to sell that book. It's plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And programming notes, join me tomorrow at 10 a.m. on wherever you're watching this right now. Also, Kathy Jackson's books on Facebook and twitch.com. We will be having the penultimate episode of Nevermind the Furthermore with me on there, so please check us out. Our final episode with me will be July 4th. That's this coming Monday. After that, Nicholas Anthony Tockert's going to take it over, and you are in for such a treat. He's really a lot more fun than I am. I really think so. Cookie tells me this. Anyway, check out what Nick does next week starting on Wednesday, and please check out my final two shows. But I will be back this coming Thursday on a brand new episode of Comic Book Spectrum with these wonderful guys and who knows who else. And as always, my friends, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Thank you for joining us here at Comic Book Spectrum, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and Nevermind the Furthermore. See you next week.